Hey guys, let's talk about LinkedIn Sales Navigator lead generation. So Sales Navigator is a great tool for lead generation, and it's a great sort of what I'll call, from my military heritage, a great way to sort of soften the battlefield for a lot of additional campaigns. And Sales Navigator is a great place to start. So let's kind of take a look. I'm going to take you right into my accounts, and you can see directly what I do from a B2B marketing and sales lead generation perspective. So of course, we're sitting here in LinkedIn. In order to get over to Sales Navigator, you just simply go in here and pull up Sales Navigator account. This is my Sales Navigator account. The first thing you'll see in here is this looks a lot like LinkedIn itself. The only thing different is I'm through a couple of the techniques that I'm going to show you, building account list, building lead list, and building save search. You're essentially going to create a very curated feed for yourself. And why this is important is because the people in this feed, unlike your normal LinkedIn feed, are truly sort of selected by you, right? So you've actually, by creating account lists, by creating lead lists and save searches and following folks, everybody in here is intentional from a sales or lead generation perspective. And so you can then start to engage with these folks. And that's the most important. As you're looking down through this, it really narrows that down. Now, I won't lie to you, I spend a lot of my time engaging here because this is my ICP audience. And it's just almost naturally curated that way. But this is truly more efficient, actually. And so from time to time, I'll come in here very specifically and go through here and making sure that I'm engaging with some of those people that I've identified as true ICPs. And so I'm going to show you how that's done. So everything really starts with a save search, and you can kind of start here, and you can start to build out these searches. So you noticed here, you can do it at the account level and you can do it at the lead level. I recommend that you do both. I like to start at the lead level because ultimately I'm going to try to connect to roles. That's really when I think about buyer personas, I'm filtering all the way down to roles. Now I will have some ICPs that are actually accounts or sort of logos that I'm going after, and we're going to do that as well. So all you have to do is really go through here. You probably already defined your ICP in a document, hopefully, where you've kind of written out some buyer personas or some avatars. Individual. When I say ICPs, I'm talking about ideal customer profiles or ideal customer avatars. Go ahead and write those out in just regular language, and then go in here and try to translate that as you build essentially a query that will give you a saved search of all these folks. Now, once you have this saved search, and I'll just kind of pull up one. This is one I'm actively working on. As you go down through here, you can save the people by looking through this and maybe doing a little deeper research, diving into their individual profiles. You can save them into your lead list, and then that's ultimately going to put them in here, because you can see this feed is filtered by my lead list, right? And then I can get more granular, and I'll kind of talk about that in a second. So let's go back there. So it's just as easy as that. That's how I build a lead list. So these are intentionally people that I'm going to go after. Now, the way I normally do this, because this save search just constantly refreshes. And so in one of my other videos, which I'll link up here, in the corner, is my LinkedIn lead generation strategy. There is sort of a process that I go through of doing a following campaign and a connection campaign. That's run through this save search. And the reason that I do that is because these folks are constantly coming in and out of this search. It's true database query based on role changes, job changes, and those sorts of things. So this is a dynamic list. This saved search is a dynamic list, and there will always be essentially unlimited ICPs for you to go after and to build into lead list. Because of that, what I normally do is I'll go into this list at the end of a quarter, and I will build my next quarter's list. Then I can go in specifically when I'm in here, and I can filter by my targets for that quarter, right? So something akin to this, right? You can kind of see these are my targets, right? Because I have a quarterly target list. The reason that I do that is because, again, this is very dynamic. The leads, the potential leads that you can have can be just enormous. So I like to kind of focus that down with everything I do in marketing. I like to kind of niche it down first, get really concentrated and see how effective I can be, because I'm going to follow those people. I'm going to engage with those people. I'm going to get on their radar. And then there's potentially some other marketing and sales things that I'm going to be doing that's going to put me in direct engagement with them. But I'm hoping that all of this LinkedIn activity is going to raise my visibility so that when I do things like cold outreach and those sorts of things, that they've already seen me, they're aware of me, I'm on their radar, and it will feel like a warm lead, right? As I come into their inbox, right? It'll feel like a warm introduction. So that's how I use lead list. So the other component that we always get into with B2B marketing is we have some logos or some accounts that we're going after. So again, you're going to do the same exact thing. You're going to create your saved search, and you're going to build an account ICP and profile. This is a little bit different, right? You're going to maybe focus on, I mean, again, this is mine, right? I focus on headcount because I'm talking about, so a little bit smaller organizations, because usually I'm working with founders or new startups, some industries. And then this is ultimately going to give me a set of logos that I can go after. And then I just kind of move through those just the same way. I'm going to query this. Yep. I'm going to move through this just in the same way. So some of these people I might want to go after. Some of these I might not. But I can very quickly, and then of course I can get more, granular in my filters here as I get down to a list where ideally what I'm doing when I'm building this filter is I'm continuing to add parameters to it to define my ICP, and ideally, and this is a good way to also kind of validate your ICP that you've built out, is by adding these individual attributes. Hopefully this list will become almost perfect, right? As you're going through these, most of these should feel like targets that you should be going after. These should feel like logos that you want to work with, right? That's why this process in Sales Navigator can be super effective. And then, of course, you save them into your list. And then the lead generation portion of this, again, goes back to and primarily happens inside of here, right? Engaging with these folks. And again, just to give you a little preview of my LinkedIn lead generation strategy, is that 4-step process is really starting to engage with them here. I'm going to comment, make intentional, good comments, right? And engage with their activity. The other thing it's going to do is going to show me who is active. So really, this isn't a very valid channel. If my ICPs are not active and they're not showing up in this feed because they're not interacting on LinkedIn, that means they're probably not here. So that's another good reason to kind of use the Sales Navigator approach to lead generation, because you can see who's active. You can start to engage with them, raise the visibility. The next thing that you're going to do is, of course, be following these folks so that you'll get them in your normal feed. And that's really important, because you're probably, just like me, you're going to end up spending a good portion of your time inside your regular feed, not necessarily in here. So it's good to follow them in there. And then the next thing, of course, you need to be producing content, right? You need to have content in here, because they're going to do the same evaluation. If you're not active, they're probably going to kind of ignore you or just think that you're a spammer, right? Just trying to do connection spamming, right? And then once you've got that content, you've got some, robust activity, you're sharing your expertise, you're showing that you're credible, you're just gaining interest there, then you could start with a connection campaign, which again, you can kind of drive from these saved searches, right? So again, when I'm doing a connection campaign, I'm literally running through these and doing connection requests. And then I use just a really simple script. It's a 2-message script. There's some really key components here. I'll sit on it for a second. You can screenshot it if you want to. Use it exactly. I kind of talk specifically to the market. I think that's always the best introduction. I think of this as like an introduction that I would do at a conference, right? I'm just walking up on a person, and what am I going to do? I'm going to make some comment about the market or sort of the dynamics of the industry that we're in, and these sorts of things, just to get some sort of reaction, get them thinking about why it might be important to connect with me. And then this one is huge, right? I promise there's no sales pitch at the other end of this connection. So this is really key, but the most important thing is you have to honor this promise, right? There's so much of this, and you've been, I know you've had these, right? Somebody connects with you, the next thing they do is pitch you, and it's just so off-putting. They don't even know you yet. So because I'm thinking of this like a conference, one, I'm very comfortable honoring that promise that I'm not going to pitch them, right? They can look at my profile and see if I am someone that they want to engage with, or I offer something that they're interested in. I don't need to pitch them, and I don't want to pitch them for that lead generation. I truly want to build a relationship. And so what do? My very next message is just simply an introduction to myself. And again, it's amazing how effective this is, because just like a conference, you introduce yourself. People like to talk about themselves. They're usually going to match this pattern. I can't tell you the number of lists that I've gotten that look very similar to this, where they're just kind of point for point talking back to me. And of course, and within this sales navigator lead generation process, at this stage, I'm actually filtering. A lot of these people will not be a fit. A lot of these people I will connect with, and that has its own value proposition, but we won't necessarily have a good value proposition. So I don't want to waste their time, and I certainly don't want to waste my time in trying to engage them in something they're not going to be interested in. So this conversation here will help me to kind of evaluate whether or not it makes sense for us to talk. And you will be amazed as we start this discussion based on this second message. Oftentimes they will actually initiate, hey, let's get together on a meeting. But what I will tell you is when we start to have that conversation based on just an introduction of each other, the value prop becomes sort of self-evident, and both of us will kind of come together mutually and decide whether or not it makes sense to have a meeting. So that's how my LinkedIn Sales Navigator lead generation process works. Hopefully it helped you. I would love for you to subscribe to this channel, like and hit that notification button. It helps my little channel grow and reach more people like you, and hopefully be helpful to them as well. So I appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next video.